Warning, this episode may contain content that is not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
So many people who you see in pornography are actually trafficked, right? But they have to put up an act to show you that they enjoy it.
And every time I didn't look like I was enjoying it, they would refilm the scene. I didn't know if they would kill me.
Right.
I was quite terrified of that. And then it got more and more threatening. And then like, oh, do you want me to hurt you now? Do you want it to be rougher?
If you don't know if someone's trafficked, right? Do you know if it's a child? Do you know if it's a minor? Are you guys familiar with the organization Fight the New Drug?
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you guys real quick.
About it a little bit.
Porn kills love. There we go.
Fight
Bought
for
this
love.
t-shirt from them. I wanted to support the organization. They're not Christian, but they do a great job informing people about pornography.
Mm-hmm.
They have a podcast. I think it's called Consider Before Consuming, and they have really great guests on there. And this is a clip I saw on their Instagram recently, and I remembered this episode. It's about this porn website or production called Girls Do Porn. Do you guys know about it? Heard about it? And what a lot of people don't know is that so many people who you see in pornography are actually trafficked, right? But they have to put up an act to show you that they enjoy it. And so this girl they interviewed, she was actually trafficked for Girls Do Porn. I believe if this is the same interview that I listened to on their podcast, she was a fitness model and, thought that she was going to do some modeling, and she got pulled into a hotel and got raped over and over and over for Girls Do Porn, and now her face is on Girls Do Porn. Her parents were very conservative Christians, and they basically shunned her after that, thinking she did it willingly, and she would never had the strength to tell them I was actually trafficked until years later. And everybody in the community recognized her because so many people watch porn, and they all mocked her and laughed at her.
I didn't know if they would me.
Right.
I was quite terrified of that. And then it got more and more threatening. And then like, oh, do you want me to hurt you now? Do you want it to be rougher? And every time I didn't look like I was enjoying it, they would refilm the scene. Yeah, eventually I just wanted it to be over. So eventually I did what they said.
Yeah.
And when when being did finally stop, when they finally got what they wanted, I locked myself in the bathroom, and it was starting to get light at that point, and I eventually came out, and they had ordered room service, and we're sitting there eating burgers and French fries, watching TV.
Wow.
What do you guys think about that?
It's just amazing. I don't think we understand the whole, like, what trafficking really is. You think it's like a van pulls up and they pull somebody in and chain them up in a basement, and you don't know, like, they're off grid or something. But I've heard this type of stuff happen a lot. A girl goes for like a nude photo shoot. She's okay with that, but would never do porn, and signed a stack of documents. And in there, it's saying you have to do this or we take you to court. And they're just agreeing to it. You're not, who's going to read all that? And I personally know a model who that's what she did. She just signed a stack of documents. She went for a modeling photo shoot, and then they said, okay, now we're going to do the video portion. And she thought, oh, cool, like some behind the scenes stuff or whatever. And instead just signed stacks of papers. And then once she found out what she was on the set of, when she walked in the hotel room, she was like, I'm not doing this. And I said, you signed the papers. Yeah, if you don't, we will take you to court. And I mean, you're talking like millions of dollars that you can't pay. So I don't know every situation, but that's one I've heard.
Yeah, it's always heartbreaking to hear stories like that. And, shout out to her for having the strength to share that experience and bring awareness in that regard. I don't understand the mind of people who do this type of things. Like, how degraded do you have to be to do such an act and then order room service afterward and watch TV? It's just a complete lack of morals and it's like their frontal lobe is completely removed.
Yeah.
Like they're overtaken by something that they're not even present for the act, and then life goes on afterward. And they're causing so much, trauma to the people that not just are there in the room that they're doing it to, but those watching as well, and those participating in it, even though that they may not think they are, like, they're just, they don't think they are for, I think, two reasons. One, because, I wasn't in the room and it's online anyway, whatever. But the other side is like, she said that they would refilm if it didn't look like she was enjoying it. So they're pushing out this idea that, the model, the girl, is on board with this, is enjoying herself, when clearly that's not the case. And, I'm saying clearly. So most people, I don't know if most people are still unaware. There's so much conversation happening around this topic, and showing that a lot of instances are instances of sex trafficking and human trafficking. But when I say clearly, it's more of from the perspective of, the victim, of like, no, she's not enjoying it, but she's being forced to make it seem as if. It's like everything is not always as it seems. And if there wasn't a market, then people wouldn't do it. And so It's like we're looking at them like, why would you put yourself in that situation and all that? But the other side is, well, why are people invested in this type of stuff? If there was no money in it, it wouldn't be done.
What I think is really crazy is prostitution's illegal. Paying someone to have sex with you is illegal. But put a video camera up and put it online, it's perfectly legal.
Right.
And now it's porn. I mean, it's insane. Like, to pay for sex is illegal, but if you have a video camera, it's legal.
Yeah. What I also learned from listening to the podcast Consider Before Consuming is that a lot of pornography that's online is also done by maybe someone's boyfriend, partner, that will just secretly film them, and boom, it's online, and everybody knows who you are. Like, they recognize your face and all that kind of stuff. So there really is an issue with, you just don't know what you are consuming. You don't know, is this person trafficked? Was this person forced? You might think, well, it looks like she's enjoying it, but like that might have been completely fake, right?
I think it's so important to get rid of this foolish stigma surrounding people who are victims of this, because unfortunately there's like what's it called, statute of limitations on this stuff. And so the fact that you were saying she waited years to tell her parents about it because of how she was perceived and all these things, it's really sad, because now, because of that, it's enabling and it's sheltering the attackers.
Yep.
Because they're like, we're protected because of how people view this. And so there are institutions and organizations that are in place to help people, but how can you help someone who's not reaching out, or if you don't know something happened to them, or if it seems like they are enjoying this or wanted this to happen to them? And so just getting rid of that stigma, not being so judgmental about people who are in that, looking at a screen and judging something. We need to do better about that, for sure.
That's right.
The one thing I just blow my mind is when she said that, those people, after filming and everything, let's go eat some French fries. To me, it's like, how deep sin can go. That you're so just blind, like you were saying, like you fall in love. Something's wrong with you. Like, what's going on? Jesus, when he was up there in the cross, he prayed to his Father, forgive them, because they don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
Just to see that, how society is. I don't know how many people there were there in that room, but if it was 5 people, that's practically a lot of people in society. They're kind of like the same mindset.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of you, and I don't care. I just want the money.
It's a deep statement. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because for a while I'm like, what do you mean they don't know what they're doing?
Yeah,
they just
know.
made a decision. Like no one, like they put the nail in your. Anyway, but considering the statement that hurt people, and we don't know what was going on in those people's lives, absolutely not to justify what they're doing, but there's context involved. And so all around, the victim, the perpetrator, everyone involved, they need help,
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, we're so we're so physical that we think this is a battle between me and you, but really there's a spiritual warfare going on. And the Bible talks about the God of this world. Satan has blinded the minds of them. So these people are literally blinded by the enemy, by sin. And like Saul, who became Paul, he had to have those blinders, had to be knocked off. He was killing people in the name of God and was blinded. He thought, I'm doing this for God. And then the blinders fell off, and it was like an instant awakening.
Yeah.
So that's really what's happening in a lot of things that are around us, spiritual warfare.
So I like to look at a few more statements that the Fight the New Drug makes on their Instagram. So CSEM stands for Child Sexual Exploitation Material, aka child porn. And it says, of domestic minor trafficking victims who had been forced into the porn production, the average age they began to be filmed was 12.8 years old.
Disgusting.
Pornography is the third most common form of sex trafficking, according to the cases reported to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Research shows that people who consume porn frequently are more likely to objectify and dehumanize others. It is estimated that as few as 1 in 3 and as many as 9 in 10 videos show acts of physical aggression or violence. And that's why you have a lot of teenagers who become sexually active. They want to act out what they've learned in pornography, and it actually really hurts the relationship. 1 in 3 underage teens report having been non-consensually shared nudes of other minors, which is legally considered child pornography. A 2021 study analyzed videos from popular porn sites and found that porn featuring Black people tends to perpetuate harmful racist stereotypes, disproportionately emphasize violence and aggression, and often depict Black people as worse than objects. So that's a few statements out there that just shows about the harms of pornography. I think especially this one about racism, and also the first one stands out to me about child pornography, that if you don't know if someone's trafficked, right? Do you know if it's a child? Do you know if it's a minor? Maybe they're 15, 16, 17, but they dress them up and they put makeup on them to make them look older, or some kids just look older.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're dealing with. And I was watching a show recently. It's called Underage. And I watched it on Discovery Plus. It's about an organization, a nonprofit called SOSA, Safe from Online Sex Abuse. And these people, this particular organization, SOSA, they work with law enforcement, and they set up an entire rooms to make it look like the room of a teenager. And they have actors who are over 21, but they look very young already. Just naturally, they just look very young. They put makeup on them. They put, child clothes on them and everything. And then they create entire social media accounts, right? And make it look realistic. You can't open something and just start messaging or receiving messages from predators. You have to have, they basically took photos of a birthday party and had all these actors in a birthday party and posted on there and keep in touch and all those things.
I like how the little butterflies are just sitting there. I look like a baby. I don't know how to laugh like a little girl. Okay. I definitely feel like weird acting 12 years old, which is totally normal, but I think it's very scary to know that there's men just hunting and looking for 12-year-olds. Even if they seem like they're the nicest people in the world. These ACMs are committing crimes against children and need to be stopped.
And so what they do is they have predators approach them, and they start recording everything, recording evidence and all that stuff. You would be shocked how many predators approach them like that. And how many of them ask them to send them sexually explicit videos and photos, and then want to meet up with them and have sex with them, rape them. Some of them have weapons and guns, and some of them have cameras and want to record them and create child pornography. Wow. There was even one guy that they caught who had a child pornography production company. And that's what he wanted to do with this individual he thought was a minor. So you just don't know when you watch pornography what's happening. Like, is it child pornography? Is it aggression? Is it perhaps racism? You just don't know.
Yeah, we've talked about this other times. There's a documentary called Childhood 2.0. Have you seen it? You saw it? So they were interviewing middle schoolers about what's the dating world like or whatever. And, when we were growing up, first base was like holding hands, or, second base is a kiss or something. They said first base now is getting a nude.
For many young people, sexting could be considered the new first base.
Kids call it nudes, we call it sexting.
Yeah, no, everybody knows what it is. Everyone knows sexting is a thing.
My school, sending nudes is very common.
It's mainly between people who aren't actually dating.
Do you know of anyone who's been affected by that at all in your school?
Affected by sexting?
Yeah, like have had an incident or a bad thing happen to them?
Well, yeah, nudes of girls go around the school all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
We are seeing more and more young people that expect to jump right into sexual acts without the relationship portion before that, without getting to know each other, without going on that first date, without holding hands, without having that first kiss. They're jumping straight to send me nude photos, send me a video of you masturbating. And that's happening younger and younger.
But then 8th grade, there was 2 different groups, and it was the group of people that did send nudes or did all these things, and then the group of girls that didn't do it. And there was just a very distinct, and it was 8th grade, and that's when it.
And that's what divided the groups was.
Honestly, yeah, and now my brother's in middle school, and I sometimes hear him, and then a bunch of kids I babysit in middle school. It's happening younger and younger, and
what ages now?
6th and 7th grade,
And somebody in the school had created this database where they were like, hey, everybody that has nudes, send them here. And then they give a password, and everyone in the school can see every girl basically, because they've all been in relationships doing this. And this is normal now. And this is so, anything that goes online is going to be able to be shared, saved by anybody. So yeah, it's just amazing. The technology that we have now is creating a terrible place, for child pornography to exist. It's a crazy world.
We were able to have a guest on the show who gave testimony. The video, it's LED Live. It's called Testimony of Ex-Porn Director of Ron Jeremy. And he was just giving some insight as to the behind the scenes of what's happening in the actual production realm of porn, and painting the real picture of what it actually takes, what goes into it, and why he decided to leave even before he became Christian. Yeah. So I definitely encourage you to check that episode out.
So I'd like to go to one more post by them. So this is what they say: fight the new drug. Porn wouldn't be what it is today without sex trafficking. And sex trafficking wouldn't be where it is without porn. Help stop the demand. Get the facts.
Wow. Yeah. If you watch it, you're creating the market. And if there wasn't a market, this wouldn't happen.
If we were to remove the human trafficking element from pornography, so there's actual consent, whatever that means or looks like, but for the sake of the question, there's consent in that realm, do you think it would be okay?
No.
Why?
Again, porn kills love. It's interesting that Fight the New Drug is not a Christian organization, and they've got fact upon fact upon fact upon fact about how it destroys relationships, right? So we already talked about how porn causes people to objectify their partners. They see a lot of aggression, and then therefore they try to implement that in their own sexual relationships. There's even things in the Bible that the Bible speaks against, particular sexual practices that happen in pornography that then are also being done in relationships and marriages and out of wedlock marriages, whatever. Porn is also very often linked to masturbation, right? Yeah. And we know from the Bible masturbation is wrong, but we also know from because it's self-sex, right? We also know that masturbation is extremely addictive. We also know that masturbation and watching porn is extremely bad for the brain. So, and again, going back to the basics of porn kills love, right? So even if you're single and you say, well, I'm not married and I, have a sex drive and I want to watch this, it completely warps your mind, your understanding of what love is. God says in the Bible that we should wait to have sex until we're married, which I don't believe is just intercourse. I believe that's everything around it that is a sexual practice. Want to go into detail, but you know what I mean. And so if God says that, then why do we think that, just because God says to wait on sex, we can now watch pornography, right? Because we all believe here that watching pornography while in being married or in relationship even is adultery, is cheating on your partner. But then, why do we think that waiting on sex before we're married means that we can now watch pornography before we're married, and then we'll just stop whenever we are married, So there's so many more reasons out there. I don't know them all from memory. Fight the New Drug has really great sources, and their podcast is really great. Consider Before Consuming. Their website has plenty of facts, scientific, evidence-based facts on there. There's so much in there that why porn does kill love. And I think it also affects our relationship with God and why we shouldn't be watching it.
Yeah, it completely destroys and perverts what God created it to be. I mean, God created sex as this amazing thing that you experience with one person for your entire life. And you don't experience it with them until you marry them. And so, when Jesus says to look after a woman, to lust after her is the same as adultery. When you're watching porn, obviously you're lusting, and you're imitating an act that shouldn't even be done until you are married. It's just like God's perfect creation of this thing has just been totally twisted. No, do it this way. Do it with this type of person. Satan, that's his whole thing, is to pervert anything that God has made, anything that's in God's image. And everything about porn just distorts that from every level, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like selfish, I need to please myself than my partner or just myself, I have a presentation. It's called porn media. And the end of the clip, because I talk about how we were created as an image of God and take care of our bodies and everything, that I didn't learn a few things growing up, how to date and stuff like that. But when I saw those couple on some videos on YouTube, I shared that before in another presentation. Wait until marriage, right? Sex. But what about a kiss? I grew up in the Latino community in Mexico. When you're 8, 9 years old, you go to some party and they telling you, hey, Mary's here, your girlfriend, making jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. And sometimes we say, oh, how cute, they just hold each other, they kiss each other, the little moments or whatever. But you never know that you damage that little mind. And you're watching those soap operas or some clips and movies or something like that. And then you growing up, you're thinking, oh, I need to have a girlfriend. Now I'm 12, 13, And that is in my own culture, that's popping up, it's normal thing. You 14, 15, you're having sex, man. And it's nobody told you anything. Or maybe the parents, they don't talk about that kind of stuff. And that clip that I share in the end of the seminar, because I talk about, the image of God and everything, I watched this clip about those couple, they wait until married to have a kiss. And I was like, come on, a kiss. Come on, it's a little kiss, right? But a little kiss, it goes to another level. If you stay a little longer in that kiss, you're going to be a little more butterflies. And you're going to be going to different things. And, this couple was tell me about the beauty of a kiss, you know. And I'm sure I just already shared that, but it's a beautiful that in the end of the ceremony, the pastor or the priest says the last word of the whole ceremony. What is it? Are you figure out? You're gonna be.
And now pronounce your husband and wife.
No.
No. That's usually it, right?
Now.
Oh, now you may kiss the bride. Oh, yeah.
So that means before you couldn't.
Yeah.
Now the priest or a pastor, right? The leader, you speak to life. He say, now you can kiss the bride. Now your husband, now you can kiss the bride. So before you couldn't. So it's another thing about, you know, seal the because it's a commitment, you know, you sign the paper and everything, you know, it's a kiss. And that's the beauty of a kiss. And I shared this clip about this couple that are waiting for that moment for like 8 months, or like a year and a half or something. And let me tell you, you see those couples' faces, especially the guy. I mean, that guy is like, of course, you know, I mean, waiting for that moment, right?
Yeah.
And he goes and grab her face, the bride, and just so gently, like, I know that this between about kissing, that's so special for her and special for him. So in that moment, it's so click that he just grabbed it like it's so precious, like a diamond I'm having over here. And that first kiss is so amazing. And when I saw that clip, seriously, my mind is like, man, I wish somebody tapped me. Mm-hmm. How's relationship? Mm-hmm. How kiss is so important. Because let me tell you, I'm going to just break that thing right now. If you have like 10, 20 girlfriends before, and you go over there and kiss the 21st, you know, girl.
Not as special, you know?
I mean,
you don't appreciate it as much because
yeah, of course, you know, you build that relationship like a year married, you know, and then you gotta get married and everything, of course. But let me tell you, our mind is so powerful. Mm-hmm. Go back to that. So that's the danger, and that's where it's so beauty of you have a relationship, even a kiss. Come on, it's a kiss. It's a kiss. Because you're waiting for that moment. Even you're a virgin and everything like that. You're waiting for that moment, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing to remember, go back to those years.
Do you think it can be restored? Do you think that appreciation or with time, the old can be forgotten? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a level of restoration after repentance?
Well, I mean, with God can do everything is possible, right?
That's right.
And if we don't do the homework, you know, like go to God and say, you know what? Because I'm going to tell you, since, you know, I've been married for 22 years, I thought that I loved my wife when I was in the 5th year, right? And all the stuff that we go through together in life, it's like I really appreciate more her company. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Mm. Because when you're young, you're like, oh man, I cannot wait to, you know, whatever. But now it's like your company. Like I want to go some places and I want to be with her. Mm-hmm. And sentimental stuff, whatever. Of course, I mean, that's the cherry on the top of the cake, right? But it's so beauty that you allow God to say, you know what, God? Yeah, I did all this stuff, right? In the past, or I did with this girl or whatever. And he said, I want you bless my marriage. You bless, you pray over. I mean, it sounds kind of like weird or crazy, but that's the beauty of marriage and the beauty that God put it since way before that, you know, since the beginning of that you bless, you pray over your bed, you know, your marriage bed, because it's a huge blessing. The question is where would you like to go drink your water? You want the fountain, the living water fountain when you own wife, or you want to be drinking the dirty water in the street? Porn. Mm-hmm. What kind of water you want? You want the beauty, you know, so you need to make it distinguish.
The dirty water's toxic, full of bacteria, right? It's bad for you. You get sick from it. That's what it does to you. It makes you sick in the sense of sin, right? It destroys your body, destroys your mind. But giving it to God and saying, Lord, keep me pure from those things, that's what God wants for us. Yeah. He has something better for us. A friend once said to me, if God takes something away from you, he has something better for you. You know, love that promise.
Yeah. And also that you mentioned that you think that thing can fix or something. I'm sure you guys heard before, like a person that lost virginity and now to come to know about God's beauty of restoration. I mean, of course, that person that lost virginity is like, that person is going to feel like, you know what? I didn't lose anything. God restored my body, my mind, and everything.
So do you guys have a couple of resources maybe that people can check out if they do want to overcome pornography addiction or just stop watching?
I've heard of Covenant Eyes. I think that's like a program that makes you accountable, gives you an accountability partner. And I think anytime you know somebody sees everything you're looking at, it's going to help you to stay away from that thing. So Covenant Eyes is one. Yeah,
it's for your phone and the computer, I think. So even if you have a spouse who is, falling into that, then that's accountability. Or you can just have a friend, pastor, whatever.
I don't have a direct resource, at least not one that comes to mind. But I think just a practical tip is self-analysis to analyze a person's routine, like your own routine, if this is something that you're struggling with. Because there's the saying that the devil finds work for idle hands. And usually engaging in that activity is to run away, like escapism from something, avoidance, procrastination. So if your time is filled with so many other things where like, for example, health, making sure your body's right. So going to the gym instead of engaging with that stuff, or finding a hobby, keeping occupied, getting into a new occupation, finishing school, like whatever it is, mending broken relationships, building a community around you. All these things take time. And if you're engaging your time in those wholesome things, you will not have time for these harmful vices. And so that's one piece of advice that I would share: being honest with yourself, truthful, analyzing your routine, and just making a decision to make better choices. And of course, including God into that whole process and asking the Holy Spirit, as he promises to do so, to renew our minds on a daily basis, and taking time to study God's word and memorizing it. So in the times when the urge is so strong, you can ask the Lord, please replace this bad thought with a thought from your word and help me to overcome. And he promises to do so. So believe his word and live it out in your life.
Yeah, there's a DVD box set by Scott Ritzema of Belt of Truth Ministries, and it's called A Greater Lust. And it's like at least 6 discs. So that's another good resource.
I'm sure they can buy it online somewhere as well, like an on-demand kind of a thing. I think another one is Joshua Broom. He is a former porn star turned pastor. And if you Google his name you'll find his website, and then he has a program on his website you can sign up for. You have to pay, but I watched a trailer of it. It looks really good, where he helps individuals overcome porn, and it's very Bible-based, which is awesome.
Wow, what a testimony he's got, I bet.
I can share some practical ways, I guess. I believe that everything started with a bite, right?
Yeah.
And I don't share it with all my, friends, male friends or something like that, but I heard this one that I really, helped me, and I'm sure it helped anybody up there. It's like you need to educate your eyes. You need to look the person from here and up.
Or look away completely.
Look away. Yeah, so you need to educate your eyes.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure we know kind of like, okay, temptation, this is a sin. No, it's somebody, beautiful girl or some guy or whatever you see. Oh, it's right there. Oh, turn away. Don't look over there. So I think we need to educate ourselves, even ourselves. We know what is our downsides or whatever. But asking the Lord and asking yourself, like, I really need some help. Please, God, help me in this. But there's some small tips that really, I think that really helps, later on, not to do some crazy stuff.
So one other thing you can check out, we have a podcast, Little Light Studios podcast. You can find it on any podcasting platforms. And in season 1, we actually did an episode with a physician and his wife, who's a therapist, and they talked about everything regarding sex. So I asked them any question under the sun. We talked a bit about pornography and masturbation as well. And they talk about it from a medical and a mental health and a spiritual perspective. It's called What the Bible Says About Sex. You can check that out if you want to. And I'd like to wrap up with one verse here. This is Psalm 73, verse 26 from the New Living Translation. It says, "My health may fail and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever." You can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Philippians 4:13.
Every day is an opportunity to show kindness to the world. Every day is an opportunity to do something that lets someone know you're thinking of them. Every day is an opportunity to give without expecting anything in return. Every day is an opportunity to notice someone in need and to go out of your way to help them. Every day is an opportunity to do one small thing, to show someone you care, to make the world a better place.
Do you have questions about the Bible that you've been struggling to find the answers for? Video Bible Study, or VBS for short, is a YouTube channel that answers your Bible questions in 5 minutes or less. Check out these easy to understand, comprehensive videos talking about everything from what happens when you die to why does God allow suffering. Make it your goal to deepen your relationship with Christ this year and subscribe to Video Bible Study on YouTube to help you along your journey.